how to organize the TOEFL Integrated Writing Task with a mock test and a model essay that will score 30 out of 30 points. Hello everyone, welcome back to Better TOEFL Scores. In this video, I will show you how to organize your TOEFL Integrated Writing Task. We'll walk through a real practice test with a reading and a 3-minute lecture. I'll show you how to write a strong introduction and body paragraphs that coherently and cohesively integrate the key points. And I'll finish with a model essay that would score a perfect 30 out of 30 points. So what exactly is integration anyway? Why do they call it the integrated writing task? To integrate means to combine information from both the reading and the lecture. Coherently means your ideas are logically connected. Cohesively means your ideas are clearly linked using transitions and consistent grammar. The TOEFL Integrated Writing Task, it's not about your opinion, it's about summarizing how the lecture challenges or adds to the reading. And to give you a bit of a backstory here, years ago, many professors, including me, were kind of complaining about the TOEFL exam because at one point it was pretty much just multiple choice. And we felt that it didn't really represent a student's academic English proficiency. So I think putting this integrated writing task was one of the ways ETS responded to our concerns about we want to make sure students are ready for academic type language tasks. And a very common thing that we do in the university is to synthesize, to integrate, to combine information from different sources and write about it and speak about it and all of those things. Okay, let's take a look at a practice test here. This one is about 305 words and the title is The Promises of Driverless Cars. Now you can guess that a really important strategy here is note-taking. So as you look at the reading passage, you want to try to get the main point and maybe 3 important support points for that reading passage. I'll go ahead and read it. Advancements in artificial intelligence have paved the way for the development of autonomous or driverless cars. Proponents of this technology claim that these vehicles will provide significant social and environmental benefits. One of the primary advantages is the potential to reduce traffic accidents. Since human error is responsible for the vast majority of road incidents due to distraction, fatigue, or intoxication, removing the need for a human driver could drastically improve safety. Another benefit supporters highlight is increased fuel efficiency. Unlike human drivers, autonomous vehicles can maintain consistent speeds, make fewer stops and starts, and communicate with each other to avoid congestion. These behaviors lead to smoother traffic flow and lower fuel consumption, which can contribute to environmental protection by reducing harmful emissions. Finally, advocates believe that driverless cars will expand access to transportation for populations that currently face limitations, such as the elderly or individuals with physical disabilities. With these cars, people who are unable to drive themselves could again regain independence and participate more actively in society without relying on others for mobility. In conclusion, the integration of driverless cars into society promises to improve road safety, promote environmental sustainability, and enhance quality of life for marginalized groups. So you can kind of see when you look through it, if you look at the introduction, we kind of have the point of the reading here. And then we explain some benefits here, another, and then finally here. So you'll notice here we have safety, we have fuel efficiency, and then we have expanding access to transportation, especially to those people with disabilities. So your strategy here is to get down 3 benefits. What are the 3 benefits of driverless cars? I recommend taking maybe a sheet of notebook paper and draw a line through the middle of the paper, and then put on the left side, put reading passage, put benefits of driverless cars, put number 1, number 2, number 3, just like we talked about there. And then you're going to hear a lecture. The lecture contains important information, and it will relate to the information that's already been presented in the reading passage. So let's take a look at what it says. Notice the title, The Real World Challenges of Driverless Cars. So instead of talking about the benefits of driverless cars, we're now talking about the challenges of driverless cars. While there is excitement about the potential benefits of autonomous vehicles, and pay attention to this, this is what we call a transition. It's connecting back to the reading passage. Now we have the new topic. Several concerns challenges these optimistic predictions. First, the assumption that driverless cars will eliminate accidents is not entirely accurate. Though they may reduce some accidents, these vehicles are still susceptible to software failures, sensor errors, and unpredictable external conditions like heavy rain or snow. In fact, when faced with unfamiliar scenarios that require human judgment, autonomous cars can become confused and make poor decisions. So you notice how this one kind of casts doubt on the safety issue. Next paragraph, second. The idea that driverless cars will reduce fuel consumption is also questionable. Although automated driving systems might operate vehicles more efficiently, the overall impact on the environment could be negative. This is because the convenience of not having to drive could encourage people to travel more frequently or over longer distances. More vehicles on the road would result in higher energy use and potentially increased emissions, offsetting the expected environmental benefits. So this kind of casts doubt on the second point mentioned in the reading. Lastly, the claim that driverless cars will improve the lives of the elderly and disabled overlooks key limitations. While these individuals might not need to steer the vehicle, they could still face significant barriers, such as difficulties getting into and out of the car or dealing with an emergency alone. Without human assistance, these users might not experience the level of independence promised by the technology. In short, although the vision for driverless cars sounds appealing, the reality presents a number of challenges that could limit their effectiveness and widespread adoption. So now you should have 3 key points about the lecture. You can put these on the right side of your paper. You want to make sure the first point in the listening, you want to kind of put it next to the first point in the reading because you want to see the relationship there. Similarly, when you have the second point mentioned in the listening, you want to put that on the same level as the second point mentioned in the reading, then the third point listening, third point reading. So you want to be able to kind of see those together on the same page. It'll make your writing much easier and more accurate, by the way. Okay, let's talk about essay structure strategy. So your introduction should consist of maybe 2 to 3 sentences. Start with a neutral summary of the topic. End with a thesis that shows the lecture disagrees with the reading. So here's a template for the introduction. It will look something like this. The reading discusses the many benefits that driverless cars could offer society, such as reducing accidents, improving fuel efficiency, and increasing mobility. However, the lecture casts doubt on these claims by highlighting several challenges that may prevent these benefits from being realized. So that's the purpose of the introduction, is to integrate, is to combine the most important points from the reading with the most important points from the lecture. And that way you give your writing a clear path in each body paragraph. And that brings me to the second strategy here. Body paragraphs, 1 for each point. Each paragraph summarizes 1 point from the reading, and then it explains how the lecture responds to it. point by point by point. Template for topic sentences. You can say things like this. The reading claims that blah, 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 blah. However, the lecture argues that. And that consists of half of the paragraph or part of the paragraph talks about reading, part of the paragraph talks about lecture. It's probably better to spend more time talking about the lecture. It's a little bit more, there's more depth, I think, to the information in the lecture. And I think the IBT human raters, they want to see that they can probably assume that your reading is pretty good. You can see the text, you can extract the main points there. But can you do the same thing with listening? That's much more difficult. How about another template here? According to the passage, blah, 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 blah. In contrast, the speaker explains that, blah, 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 blah. Notice the use of the word however, in contrast. You can also say something like on the other hand. But the key is to show at the key juncture, right? When you're moving from the information in the reading and you're beginning the information of the lecture, that's the key juncture. That's where that transition word needs to be placed. And by saying however, or in contrast, it helps show that the lecture has opposite or contrasting information from the reading. Another one you could say, while the reading suggests that blah, 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 the professor casts doubt on this by pointing out. So what I'd recommend is that you don't use the same transition word or the same sentence style in each of those body paragraphs. You want to make sure you have a variety of sentences as you're kind of juxtaposing the information from the reading with the information from the lecture. Now, I'm showing you some possible templates here. But it's better for you to create your own, right? You can look at what I'm doing, but then you should create your unique templates that don't come from this video or from anybody else's video. You do not want to be accused of plagiarism. You don't want to make it too obvious that you're relying on templates for the writing, but templates can be effective and they can help you to organize information, especially when you're combining different sources. Now let's take a look at a model response here. It's 295 words. I recommend, the TOEFL says 150, but I would go beyond that, really. You want to go above and beyond whatever the TOEFL says if you want to get a really good score. So you see this essay structure strategy, introduction, we have body paragraphs. Okay, now let's take a look at how this implements those strategies. So the introduction looks like this. The reading discusses the many benefits that driverless cars could offer society, such as reducing accidents, improving fuel efficiency, and increasing mobility. However, the lecture casts doubt on these claims by highlighting several challenges that may prevent these benefits from being realized. First, the reading states that driverless cars will improve road safety by removing human error, which causes most accidents. However, the lecturer challenges this by explaining that autonomous vehicles can still fail due to software bugs, malfunctioning sensors, or unpredictable environmental conditions. In situations that require human intuition, like navigating during heavy rain or around unexpected obstacles, driverless cars may perform poorly and still cause accidents. Second, the reading claims that fuel efficiency will improve because self-driving cars operate more smoothly and avoid congestion. In contrast, the lecture argues that the convenience of not needing to drive might cause people to travel more often and over longer distances. As a result, total fuel usage and emissions might actually increase, reducing or even eliminating the environmental advantages. Finally, the reading suggests that these cars will provide independence to elderly and disabled people who cannot drive themselves. The lecturer disputes this by noting that these individuals may still struggle to use the cars independently. Tasks like entering and exiting the vehicle or handling emergencies during a trip could still require assistance, which means they may not truly gain independence. In summary, while the reading presents a positive view of driverless cars, the lecture argues that technical limitations, behavioral changes, and practical challenges may prevent these vehicles from achieving their intended benefits. Now let's do one more step here. How does artificial intelligence view this writing? And how do you know if you're writing at the level that's sufficient enough, I think, for what I call college level writing? I teach English composition at California State University, San Bernardino, and I'm always telling my students there's a difference between college level writing and other forms of writing, such as memos, reports, sending text messages, emails to friends and family. All writing is not going to be at the same level, right? So how do you know, right? That's really my question. So I'm actually Microsoft Word right now. So I'm going to go to Review, and I'm going to go to Editor, and I'm looking at, so we have an editor score of 100%. We can see that, right? But that's not really what I'm interested in. I'm most interested in document stats. Under Insights, this is going to tell me what the grade level is of this essay. And you should be checking your grade level. Remember that in the United States, we have kindergarten, then we have grades 1 through 5th, which is considered elementary school. We have grades 6, 7, considered middle school, and maybe 8. Then we have grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's considered high school. And anything above grade 12 is college level and beyond. Right? So I'm going to look at this one for a minute. So what does this tell me here? Okay, so it says words per sentence is 17, a little bit short. Characters per word is 5.6. So this is actually a very strong number here. If you have an average number of letters per word is 5 or higher, you have some strong vocabulary, no doubt. The grade level here is 12.6. So it's a little bit higher. It's at high school and almost college level. So I think that this would be acceptable, I think, for the IBT human raters, or really the artificial intelligence E-rater, ETS is scoring engine for writing. I think that the artificial intelligence will like this particular writing here. So your goal is, if you're looking at the Flesch King K grade level of the writing, you can also find this on the internet. And you can even use ChatGPT if you want to get it evaluated that way. You can ask Chat, you can say, am I writing at the college level? Or am I writing at the Flesch King K grade level of 13 or higher? If you're close to 13, I think that you're in pretty good shape. So it means that your vocabulary, your sentence structure, your grammar, all of that is strong. It's definitely not too informal. You want it to be very academic, and that's what this number tells me here. Okay, one other thing before I finish this video here. So let's look at the analysis of this particular essay. So why does it score 30 out of 30? It clearly integrates ideas from both sources, the reading and the lecture. It uses accurate summaries and paraphrases. Remember that summaries, you're focusing on the most important points, both main ideas and most important supporting points. And then paraphrase means that you're accurately re-explaining the information without changing the meaning, without leaving out important information. Demonstrates strong organization and transitions. Has no major grammar errors. Maintains an academic tone with precise vocabulary. So I think because of these reasons here, this essay will score 30 out of 30. Now, you don't have to score this high, by the way, right? I mean, who needs this kind of a score? But I know some of you are very anal and you really want to get as high a score as possible. That's fine. But generally, in my opinion, and I teach college level writing every semester, anything over 24, 25 points, you're ready. You will do fine in the university. I think if you can score 24 to 25 on the writing section of the TOEFL, you're there. Now, if you're scoring 18 or 19, you're not ready for college level writing, right? Definitely not. You still have a lot of language use issues you're working out. Your listening comprehension is maybe not so good. You're just not able to handle the rigors of academic writing at 18 or 19 points. In conclusion, if you want more practice tests, maybe you want to get an idea of what your score is right now, and then what are the pressing issues that you need to work on to improve your writing. And that's where I come in, right? So if you want practice tests and expert feedback on your TOEFL writing, go to bettertoeflscores.com. I offer a 99-month service with daily speaking and writing evaluation to help you reach your dream score. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more TOEFL strategies.